It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We have the meeting from the 6th to talk about, also a work session a week ahead of that, and a lot happening in the community and maybe a few new restaurants to talk about. So stick with us, a lot coming up in the next half hour. Let's begin with that work session on the 29th, Heidi. What was the topic there? Why is this a time of the year for this discussion?
Yeah, so we had a closed session with the council on the evening of the 29th. Pretty quick one, about an hour. We do have 3 of our labor contracts up for negotiation this year, so an opportunity to visit with the council on where we're at in those negotiations. We do hope to get those contracts wrapped up, and so they might even appear on the December 20th agenda for approval.
Very good. The meeting on the 6th then was about 2 hours in length. We have a few items to pull from the consent agenda and then a lot that went on later on in the meeting. I guess just one item from consent, and that was a resignation from the Arbor Committee, a long-time member of that committee. Tell us about Ed.
Yeah, so Ed Ryko served on the Arbor Committee for over 17 years, and so Councilmember Hanson, of course, serves as the liaison to the Arbor Committee and pulled this item to recognize Ed's service, and so we're grateful for that. And we'll be appointing a new member here as we move into the new year.
I can remember doing some videos with him back in the day out in the community about the Arbor Committee, so best of luck to Ed. Big part of the meeting was the presentation of the budget. Tell us a little bit about the key numbers we need to know.
Yeah, so this was the night for our Truth and Taxation hearing for our 2022 budget. You know, pretty average budget year, I guess I would say. Budget's going up about 2.68%, and then our levy went up 3.03%. So not a lot of big issues in the budget this year. We did add a couple new positions. We're adding a new position in administration, one in HR, and then one in let me just make sure I have my right list here in front of me. And then one in the police department as well. And then we did kind of offset that with some restructuring or elimination of a position in IT as well as in engineering. So kind of a net add of FTE there on the budget. This is for the 2022 budget, does include the creation of the stormwater fee. That'll be reflected on a fee schedule here, but this did move some of those costs that were previously reflected in the general fund budget out into that newly created utility fund. We do have some contingency dollars here in the budget to cover some costs that we know are coming. Some workers' compensation, our worker comp rates are going up, so some costs associated with that. Part-time seasonal wages, we're going to be doing a comp and class study, compensation classification study for city employees in the coming year, so there's some dollars there for implementation, as well as the move to in-house prosecution services. So lots of information contained on our city website about the budget for this upcoming year for 2022. There's also a PowerPoint there that Greg Steek, our finance director, put together that kind of summarizes everything, so encourage folks to go take a look at that budget. The budget now will come back on December 20th for final adoption, and then of course that goes into effect as of January 1.
And that website, maplegrovemn.gov, if you want to find out more about that process and look at that presentation. We have some improvements to some retail areas that we're going to talk about. The first is the fountains area. There was a public hearing. What was the topic here? Yeah,
so public hearing on these fountain area improvements, and this is really kind of that street leading into the fountains, and then the intersection there kind of between Freddy's and the little Main Street type retail, and then the road heading into Costco as well. So some changes to the medians and the drive lanes and turn lanes there, and so this project likely to get started right away in the spring as soon as we can, and they're hoping to wrap it up by early July.
Certainly an area that sees a lot of traffic. Another area that sees a lot of traffic is Main Street, and believe it or not, 25 years old, so time for some repair there as well.
Yeah, residents might recall that we went through kind of a community engagement process around the redesign or reconstruction of Main Street. We're taking, kind of from that building edge all the way through to the street section. So some changes to the materials out there. We've had a lot of issues with, the pavers and the sidewalks. With those, and so replacing that with some standard, different kinds of concrete material, that kind of thing. Adding some new amenities amenities or some things to the streetscape, and then of course kind of a good mill and overlay for that street section. So this project is looking to get started after Maple Grove Days, so mid-July, mid to late July, and then that'll get wrapped up hopefully by November, so kind of a late summer project.
More information as it gets closer. Next set of items from Community and Economic Development, a number of new properties to talk about and some new developments. First is Evanswood. We've talked a little bit about this in the past.
Yeah.
Give us a little refresher and what the discussion was at the meeting.
Yeah, so this is Evanswood PUD Development Stage Plan rezoning and plat. So this is up in the northwest quadrant, just kind of south of the Hindu Temple. Pretty large subdivision. We haven't had a subdivision of this size probably since before the recession. So this one was coming back for its final approvals. I think the one piece that had a lot of discussion both at Planning Commission and then also at City Council is this trend of taking, you know, like a townhome type development or a single family neighborhood and making it into rental. We see that a lot happening in the private market with developers and builders, and so we always like to be aware of those things and know that on the upfront from the developer so that we can take that into consideration when we think about things like parking and we think about the street widths and the amenities that might be included in a neighborhood. And so the question had been asked at Planning Commission of the developer whether the townhome piece of this would be rental, and they kind of stated they weren't sure yet, which caused, you know, some concern and wanting some certainty around that issue. And so we addressed that again at the City Council level, and we don't really have, you know, a way to control whether something becomes owner occupied or rental, but we certainly like to be aware of that and you know, kind of want some transparency in the process there. So this one did gain approval. The developer, their final statement was just, you know, we're still considering that. We'll be, you know, continue to work with them to understand that, but they did really take a look at kind of the guest parking that's provided in that townhome area, and they are going to be providing a tot lot, those kinds of things. And so I think the council felt comfortable that they had kind of addressed some of those concerns, but that was kind of where a lot of the discussion took place. And we're not alone in that. I think we're seeing that trend, you know, really all over the metro area in a lot of the developing suburbs. So I think it's a trend amongst the development community.
Interesting one to follow.
Yeah.
Next development item was the Maple Grove Innovation Center planned unit development, and this is up in an area that is again seeing some changes within the city. Give us an overview of this plan.
Yeah, so this is a property just kind of due west of Holly Lane, north of 105th, up against I-94, just kind of south of Dayton there. If you can envision that parcel, it's kind of a triangle parcel. We've had, you know, interest in this parcel over the years from time to time, and this proposal I think is probably the one that's advanced the most and gotten legs. But Skinnell Properties is proposing to do two kind of office warehouse type buildings up there, and this was is in conformity with both the comp plan as well as the master plan for this area. We knew that these properties up here, you know, would transition to more of a mixed use type development, and that office warehouse or office flex space likely would be the user that's really, you know, pretty prominent in our economy up here in the Northwest Metro, and where a lot of business likes to live in those types of buildings. So, you know, this is an area that there's not a lot, you know, the roads need improvement, and the extension of water and sewer and stormwater services is needed. And so we have been looking at that as a staff level. We have a lot going on up in that area, the 105th, and then up to Holly that connects up to Dayton there. And of course now with the new Dayton Parkway interchange, adds a lot of access and kind of energy to that area as well. So we're going to be looking at a project that would really address that whole 105th Avenue corridor and then up to the Dayton border on Holly, because we know, you know, we have you know, there's a townhome development that we're going to talk about a little bit later that's right along 105th. We have the recently approved Northwood Church, and there's some housing associated with that. And we know we have some interest in development just on the south side of 105th. So a lot of moving pieces up in that 105th, 610 area, which are really going to drive some infrastructure improvements out there. So a lot of discussion about this one. Neighbors to the east, kind of in a large lot, single family, older neighborhood, you know, with concerns. This is certainly a transition of use up there. You know, with the extension of 610 and the proximity to 94, the Dayton Parkway interchange, you know, the other leg of 610 hopefully will get done in 2023. I think it just adds a lot of interest and kind of pressure on that real estate up there.
Right.
That we'll likely see more of it be transitioning into more active uses away from it being farm fields. So I understand the concerns of the neighborhood. We'll work our best to answer their questions. They had submitted a list of questions at the time of Planning Commission. Many of those are things that won't be known until we get a little bit further ahead. We're going to be doing an environmental assessment, or the developer will be doing an environmental assessment worksheet here that'll answer many of those things, as well as they consider applying for their development stage approvals. You know, many of those details about the project, infrastructure, those types of things will have to be answered.
Okay.
So some of it a little too soon to say. So really at the concept stage, we're just looking at kind of land use, the types of buildings that would be there, configuration of those, and then the access points. That's really kind of what we're looking at concept level, and then we'll get into more detail at the next phase. But this one did gain approval on a 4-1 vote.
All right, as you can tell, more to come. We'll keep you up to date on that. Summerwell, the development that was pulled from the table. Again, we've had discussion in the past about this. Now it moves ahead in the process. How did that go?
Yeah, another one up in that 105th, 610 area. This one's just north of 105th, just kind of due west of Maple Grove Parkway, north of 610. Summerwell, 220 units, and this one, the developer's been very, you know, has led with this would be a rental townhome project. And so with that in mind, we've really kind of looked at what the amenities would be in that neighborhood, as well as street widths and the parking that would be accommodated within the project. So this one, you know, I think, you know, we've known all along what it was going to be, but this one is at concept stage as well. So much of the feedback that they've taken about the parking and the, you know, the amenities and those kinds of things will get taken into consideration here as they move through that development stage phase of the approval. But this one did get approval to continue to move forward, so on a 5-0 vote. So this one we'll see, you know, probably in the next couple months at the development stage.
A busy night again of community and economic development items. There's one more. This relates to senior housing. Tell us about some affordable senior housing options.
Yeah, so we have a proposal for an affordable senior housing project up kind of up in the area of Menards, north of BioLife up there. We call it the Tri-Care area, by MWF Properties. They're a developer of multifamily in the metro area. A lot of senior housing, a lot of affordable senior housing type projects. So this was really an agreement between the developer and the bond council that we use at the city, Taft, for them to go forward and make application to the state for bonding through state bonds for this. And because they're a for-profit entity, we, the city, have to be involved and generally be the applicant. The debt really, or the bond issuance really, is on the private side, and the city has no obligation in that or liability in that, but we sort of are the conduit for that, that bond inducement. So this was to do that agreement with our bond council to get that work going, and then at the Planning Commission meeting on December 13th, we'll see that application, that land use application, come forward for that MWF project. So more to come on that one, and also working through the funding pieces.
A few other items pass along that are happening in community development, and we've got some new restaurants that we mentioned, opening that happened and the opening that is actually happening this afternoon of the taping. Tell us about those new businesses.
Yeah, so Shake Shack opened on Monday afternoon, coldest day of the winter so far.
Right.
Or I guess it was in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, but they've gotten a lot of recent pub, you know, in the Business Journal and the Star Tribune for being kind of the first Shake Shack with the double drive-through in Minnesota, or drive-through actually, and it's got a double drive-through. So yeah, they opened for business the afternoon of the 6th.
And another new restaurant coming to town, Max's on Mains. Tell us about their big event coming up.
Yeah, so this afternoon at 4 o'clock, we're going to celebrate the ribbon cutting over at Max's on Main. I had an opportunity to go in there over the weekend. They've refreshened things up a little bit and opened up the space from when it was Cladas. So they're excited to be on Main Street. You can go check them out.
Yeah, people get out and take a look at that. Arbor Committee also having a meeting coming up on the 9th. That was announced at the council meeting. No engineering update items, but you had a few items to touch on, a few events coming up. First for the employees, and then a few retirements.
Yeah, so we have our annual Haven't had it now for, for a couple of years, but annual employee appreciation event this coming Thursday evening. And then a couple key staff retirements. Officer Ron Nagy will be retiring. His celebration will be on December 17th. And then Jan Clark in our Parks and Recreation Department, 42 years of service.
Wow.
She'll be retiring here. Her celebration is on December 20th.
All right, we'll tell you more about that next time. Let's go to some other things happening in the city, as that's a wrap on the meeting from the 6th. First, we've got the holidays coming up here, and office hours are going to change just a little bit.
Yeah, so the holiday, of course, falls on Saturday, December 25th, so we'll be closed on Friday, December 24th in honor of the Christmas holiday.
All right, and a lot of things going on in the city related to the holidays. The first is the toy drive, and I understand it's been extended. Who's the partner in this?
Yeah, so Cross Services is our partner for the toy drive this year, and it's been extended through December 14th. So new unwrapped toys for children 10 years and under can be dropped off between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. at the Government Center main entrance, the Public Safety Facility entrance, as well as the Community Center main entrance. Gift card donations for children 11 to 17 will also be accepted from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Police Department located inside the Public Safety Facility. And of course, Cross, of course, is our local food shelf, and they provide housing services as well to all the communities up here in the Northwest Metro.
Very great event. And speaking of events, a lot going on over the holidays, and if you need a guide to get you and your family through it, Mistletoe Memories is a good place to look.
Yeah, you should have received a copy of that in your home, but it's the holiday events guide filled with a wide array of events and activities. Lots of coupons in there too for the holiday season, and just encourage you to get out and support local businesses. We did have our Mistletoe Magic Parade on Saturday night. CCX, of course, participated in that and lit up the Christmas tree with Santa and Mrs. Claus, so it was a nice night on Main Street Saturday night.
I was amazed by the crowd. A lot of people out on a chilly night, so good to see them out there. Let's go back to August time frame, something that happened then with a lot of people participating. You've got some good news. Tell us about National Night Out.
Yeah, so the National Association of Town Watch awarded Maple Grove the #1 award for its 2021 National Night Out activities. The award category is for cities with a population of 50 to 100,000. So after not celebrating National Night Out in 2020 due to COVID, the award recognizes crime prevention officer Todd Strigi's leadership to bring together this award-winning comeback year. So congratulations to Todd and the entire law enforcement team at Maple Grove PD, and for being recognized for our National Night Out event.
Yep, always a great event. All right, it's that time of the year where things change in the weather, and a few home safety tips might be in order, and also some tips for outside. Let's begin inside with carbon monoxide. What do we need to know here?
Yeah, you want to make sure you have your carbon monoxide detector in place and working. Check the battery, those kinds of things. A lot of indoor time being spent right now. It's been really cold this week, so a lot of time indoors in the heat. So really important to make sure that monitor is out there. Carbon monoxide, no odor, colorless, has no taste. So sometimes it's often called the silent killer. So we just want to make sure people are checking on that. If you have any questions, of course, you can call and talk to somebody at City Hall in our fire department, and they can help you out with that as well.
All right, next safety tip is from the outside, and this goes to the ice. And it's that time of the year where there's some ice, but not solid ice. So what should we be aware of when we head out? Yeah,
it's always these last few weeks of December leading up to the new year that we always worry about folks getting out on the ice too soon. And you and I were just chatting earlier about, I think it was last year, we had like 3 folks go through the ice here. So just really encourage folks to be careful this time of year. It's a little too early, even though it's been cold right now, to be out on the ice. Certainly on foot, but certainly with any type of vehicle or anything. So just encourage people to stay off the ice until we get to a point where we've had enough cold weather to make that safe. And just a note that our Maple Grove firefighters do train for this type of thing. So, but you don't want to have to call them for that. So stay out of the ice. But completed their ice rescue classroom training gives firefighters a chance to review equipment used for cold water and their ice rescue operations. So we're ready to serve, but encourage everybody to make safe decisions.
Very good. Let's move ahead to 2022 for just a second and talk about recycling. There's something new coming to residents. What should we be ready for?
Yeah, so this is a new requirement of Hennepin County for the city to have an organics recycling program, and some cities will create their own kind of program and own and manage it themselves. We took a little bit of a different approach in that we required all of our garbage haulers in Maple Grove to offer that service to our residents. And so it became kind of a condition of their licensure with the city. So you now should have organics available to you through your garbage hauler. And so adding that into your services, and then some of them do it with like a blue bag program, some do it with a separate container, that kind of a thing. So just reach out to your garbage hauler to see what services might be available there. There are other options, including backyard composting, as well as dropping off items for no charge at the Hennepin County drop-off facility in Brooklyn Park, and they do sell compost bins there year-round.
Good to know. City's website, again, a great resource for all that information. Park and Rec Activity Guide, winter events are coming up, winter activities, and it sounds like there's a lot this year.
Yeah, so registration is underway for winter programs through Maple Grove Parks and Recreation. There's more than 375 activities, classes, and programs available for all ages, and the activity guide can be found on the city's website, and you should have received one in your home as well.
Very good. Community Center, a place to be this time of the year for events and also to purchase gifts. Tell us more about the gift purchasing.
Yeah, a gift card to the Maple Grove Community Center can be purchased for daily admission, concession items, recreation programs, membership, or party rental, and they make great Christmas gifts or stocking stuffers.
Place to connect with Santa as well at the Community Center. What can the kids do?
Yeah, so we do have Santa's mailbox inside the front door of the community center. Letters are accepted there through December 15th. Please make sure each child's letter includes their full name and address so Santa and his elves can respond to them.
Very nice. Also inside the community center, coming up a couple times in December, the indoor market.
Yeah.
What happens there and what are the dates?
Yeah, so we have our indoors farmers markets coming up tomorrow, Thursday, December 9th, and then Tuesday, December 21st, right before the Christmas holiday. And the hours are 3 to 6 p.m. and those will be indoor. We do have over 25 vendors scheduled for each of those indoor markets.
So after you warm up inside, then you can head out skating outside, and the loop has been very busy. Tell us about Central Park and what we need to know to skate.
Yeah, so Central Park Skate Loop, and now that the weather has turned cold again, I think we're back in business. When it warmed up last week and the sun was real strong, we're struggling to keep the ice good. But the skate loop is open and the skating season underway. Skating is free. We do have skate rentals available for $7 a pair, and then of course there's the indoor chalet, you know, where you can go in and warm up, and there's a place to tuck your boots away and that kind of a thing. We do expect the outdoor neighborhood rinks to be open in time for the winter school break, which will be a longer break here at Osseo area schools, so we're hoping to get those open real soon. But we do encourage you to follow the Parks and Recreation Facebook page. We try to keep that updated with information about what's going on at the skating loop.
All right, and you can go skate on your own on a regular basis, but one time you can skate with that guy in the red suit.
Yeah.
When is that happening?
Yeah, so Santa and his helpers are making a special stop in Maple Grove at the skating loop on Saturday, December 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. We'll have, of course, evening of free skating and then holiday music. A choir from Maple Grove Senior High will be there to provide some entertainment. And then you can also enjoy the light display. The Maple Grove Rotary does all the decorating of the trees out there, and it's really quite beautiful. So if you haven't been over there, if you're not a skater, it's worth just getting over there in the evening to walk through. It's really beautiful, and again, skate rentals are available for that event as well.
Final note, let's wrap up the year with New Year's Eve and a celebration at the community center. Not an event, but a chance to go there for a good rate and have some fun. Yeah,
so both on December 31st and January 1st, so that's a Friday, Saturday, all building admission rate is $25 per family or $5 per single admission. And so it includes all the access to the pool, indoor playground, gym, ice skating, except for that the ice skating is only available on New Year's Eve on December 31st, not January 1st.
Very good. All right. A lot of information, as always, in Maple Grove. We'll let Heidi take a breath now, and let's go to the website and talk about that next meeting as well. Next meeting on Monday, December 20th. That's when the final budget will be approved. You see the website in the middle of the screen. Again, a lot of information we pass along about events and activities happening in the city, so go there to find out more. Also at the bottom of the screen, the phone number if you'd like to call. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.